countdown is on. 3i Atlas is only days away from Mars, and no one can explain why it's headed straight for the red planet. Is this the beginning of a cosmic transformation, or is something far more sinister at play? The truth may lie just out of reach, but the consequences of its arrival could alter humanity's future forever. Before we dive deeper, if you find this fascinating, hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated. Tell me in the comments where you're listening from. The sudden appearance of 3i Atlas in our solar system has sent shockwaves through the scientific community, leaving experts scrambling for answers. When the object was first detected in July 2025, it was quickly labelled as yet another interstellar comet, a fleeting visitor from beyond our solar system, destined to pass through without leaving a lasting mark. Comets are no strangers to astronomers. They appear, streak across our skies, and often vanish into the darkness of space without much fanfare. But what the latest images from Mars have revealed is nothing short of extraordinary. They have cast an unsettling shadow over the initial assumptions, forcing us to question whether this is truly just another comet or something far more enigmatic. Captured by NASA's Perseverance rover, these images offer a startling view of 3i Atlas, one that doesn't align with the expected characteristics of a comet. The photos show an object with a distinctly elongated, almost cylindrical shape. Unlike the typical irregular, lumpy features of a comet's nucleus, 3i Atlas appears smooth, symmetrical, and oddly geometric, almost too perfect to be a product of natural processes. It's as though the object was designed, not by cosmic forces, but by something far more intentional. The revelation is jarring, not just because of its appearance, but because of the potential implications for our understanding of space and our place in it. Could this interstellar visitor hold the key to unlocking Mars' deepest secrets, or are we simply being misled by a mirage? The images have raised more questions than answers. For years, we have viewed Mars as a barren, desolate world, one that, despite our best efforts, has resisted all attempts to uncover evidence of past life. But what if the red planet isn't as lifeless as we've been led to believe? What if 3i Atlas is not just a comet passing through, but a harbinger of something far greater, a sign that Mars has been, or is about to be, transformed in ways we cannot yet comprehend? These questions are made all the more pressing by the fact that 3i Atlas is not acting like any comet we've encountered before. It's not just passing through, it's moving in a trajectory that seems almost too precise, too deliberate. The object is heading directly toward Mars, and its alignment with the planet's orbit is too perfect to be a coincidence. Could this be the first sign of something much more ominous? A purposeful journey to Mars? Astronomers and space agencies have tried to reassure the public, insisting that 3i Atlas is just a comet, albeit a particularly large and bright one. But the evidence is mounting, and it's difficult to ignore the growing sense of unease among those studying the object. The Perseverance rover's images have shown features that don't quite fit the narrative of a simple cosmic wanderer. The object's smooth, elongated form, its eerie green glow, and the strange chemical signatures detected in the gases surrounding it. All of these details are raising alarms. Scientists are beginning to wonder if what we are looking at is not just a random visitor from another star system, but something much more intentional, something designed for a purpose. What's more unsettling is the silence that has followed these discoveries. Despite the significance of the images and the growing number of questions they raise, space agencies have been conspicuously quiet. NASA, ESA, and other space organizations have released only minimal information about 3i Atlas, offering little in the way of explanations. It's as if there's something they don't want us to know. Is the object truly what it seems, or is there something more to it that they're not ready to reveal? The silence from official channels only adds fuel to the fire, making the mystery surrounding 3i Atlas even more intense. Could this interstellar traveller be the key to unlocking the mysteries of Mars, or is it simply a cosmic mirage designed to lead us down the wrong path? The images from Perseverance offer tantalizing glimpses, but they are just the beginning. As the object moves closer to Mars, the questions will only multiply, and the answers will become even more crucial. Are we on the verge of discovering something that will forever change our understanding of the universe? Or are we being deceived by a cosmic illusion? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. The unveiling of 3i Atlas is just the beginning of a journey that could redefine everything we thought we knew about space, life, and the fate of Mars. As 3i Atlas made its way through our solar system, its arrival sparked widespread interest and fascination within the astronomical community. Space agencies around the world, including NASA, ESA, and others, closely monitored its trajectory, gathering data to understand its path and potential impact on our solar system. From the moment it was first detected, astronomers were keenly aware of the object's unusual nature. This was not just any comet, but a rare visitor from beyond our solar system, travelling at speeds and angles that defied typical comet behaviour. The initial excitement soon gave way to an unsettling sense of uncertainty as the object's trajectory began to take shape. Unlike other interstellar visitors, such as the infamous Oumuamua, 3i Atlas seemed to follow a course that was almost too perfect. Its path through space was far more predictable, with a surprising level of precision. Observations showed that the object was heading directly toward Mars, making it clear that its trajectory was no random accident. The alignment of 3i Atlas with Mars's orbit was so uncanny that it raised more than a few eyebrows. Was this merely a coincidence, or was something more deliberate at play? The idea that a cosmic body travelling from a distant star system could accidentally align with Mars in such a precise manner seemed improbable at best. Mars, with its red, barren surface and long-standing mysteries, has always been a focal point of human curiosity. For centuries it has captured our imagination as the most Earth-like planet in our solar system, a potential future home for humankind, and the subject of endless scientific exploration. But the appearance of 3i Atlas has added a new layer of intrigue, and perhaps danger, to this already enigmatic planet. As the object drew nearer to Mars, the trajectory of 3i Atlas seemed to suggest that it was not merely passing through, but rather heading directly toward a rendezvous with the red planet. Its course appeared almost engineered, as if it were deliberately targeting Mars itself. The timing was equally peculiar. Mars had already been a point of focus for space agencies, with various missions exploring its surface and its potential for human habitation. But the appearance of 3i Atlas, following a path that so closely aligned with Mars, introduced an element of uncertainty that no one had anticipated. Was the object's trajectory a natural occurrence, or was it influenced by forces beyond our comprehension? Could this be a rare cosmic coincidence, or was 3i Atlas part of a larger plan, perhaps a mission with Mars at its very heart? The fact that 3i Atlas' course seemed to be so intricately linked with Mars' orbit was enough to spark a range of theories and speculations. Some scientists, initially cautious, began to wonder if the object's presence had a purpose, perhaps an intentional one. Could this object be some kind of message, or a probe sent by an unknown force? The idea that a celestial object might be deliberately navigating the solar system with Mars in its sights challenged long-held assumptions about the randomness of space. For centuries, we viewed the cosmos as a vast chaotic expanse where objects drift aimlessly across light years of emptiness. But now, the possibility of intentional direction, of cosmic design, seemed more plausible than ever. As 3i Atlas passed within range of our telescopes and imaging systems, it became clear that this was no ordinary visitor. The high-resolution images of the object, captured by a variety of spacecraft, revealed unexpected features, sharp angles, an unusual glow, and a smooth surface that seemed far too symmetrical for a natural comet. What had once been assumed to be a simple, fleeting comet was rapidly becoming something far more perplexing, and the sense of uncertainty deepened with each new observation. The questions surrounding 3i Atlas's precise path were now inescapable. Was this a cosmic accident, or was there a deliberate purpose behind its appearance? Could the alignment with Mars be part of something greater, a carefully orchestrated event in the grand theatre of space? The unsettling feeling that this was no mere chance encounter lingered in the minds of many. Was 3i Atlas simply another cosmic wanderer passing through, or was it in fact a harbinger of something much more significant? As the object drew closer to Mars, the world waited with bated breath for the answers to these questions, unsure of what this unprecedented encounter would reveal. Mars had long been the focal point of human curiosity and speculation. Could this strange interstellar visitor hold the key to unlocking its secrets? And if so, what truths would be uncovered in the process? 3. Atlas's passage through our solar system had become much more than just an astronomical event. It had become a point of contention, a mystery that transcended the stars and brought Mars once again into the spotlight. As the object closed in on the red planet, the question remained: was it an accidental visitor, or was it sent with a purpose in mind? Before the highly anticipated images of 3i Atlas even made their way into the public eye, an unsettling wave of reports began to emerge from astronomers and space agencies around the world. The source of their concern? Strange, unexplained signals emanating from the object itself. At first, these signals were dismissed by some as a natural anomaly, just another oddity from the vast expanse of space. But as more data poured in, it became clear that what was being detected was not the result of any known cosmic phenomenon. Remote sensors aboard spacecraft, including NASA's Perseverance rover and the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, had picked up electromagnetic waves and pulses from 3i Atlas. These signals were unlike anything scientists had encountered before. Their frequency, pattern, and strength suggested something far more deliberate, far more intentional than what would be expected from a comet or asteroid. The timing of these signals only added to the growing sense of unease. As 3 Atlas passed deeper into our solar system, the pulses seemed to intensify, with specific patterns emerging in sync with the object's trajectory toward Mars. The proximity of the signals to the red planet was enough to raise eyebrows and spark rampant speculation among researchers. What were these signals trying to tell us? Could they be the result of an intelligent source? Or were they just a byproduct of the object's passage through space, some cosmic interference that happened to coincide with Mars' path? The idea that these signals could be evidence of intelligent design was a notion that many had long considered the stuff of science fiction. For centuries, we've speculated about extraterrestrial life and the potential for communication with beings from distant worlds. But to imagine that such an object, a mere interstellar traveller passing through our solar system, could be sending messages designed for us, or for Mars, was a concept too strange for most to consider. And yet, the signals from 3i Atlas did not resemble the usual electromagnetic emissions from natural space phenomena. Their complexity, structure, and apparent purpose pointed towards something far more sophisticated. What made these signals even more disconcerting was the timing. Mars had already been the subject of intense scrutiny, with numerous missions currently operating on and around the planet. The idea that 3i Atlas was somehow targeting Mars with its strange signals was hard to ignore. It was as though the object was preparing for something, or perhaps trying to communicate with the planet. Was Mars itself the intended recipient of these electromagnetic pulses? Could they be a form of communication, one designed specifically to reach the planet as it came into alignment with the object's trajectory? More troubling still was the suggestion that these signals might not be intended for us at all. If 3 Atlas was sending out signals toward Mars, could they be part of a larger hidden agenda, one that had been unfolding for far longer than we had realized? The eerie timing of the pulses, aligned with the planet's orbit, could not be ignored. Were these signals just a coincidence? Or was there something more sinister at play? Could they be a beacon, an alert, or a form of communication intended for someone or something on Mars? And if so, what did it mean for humanity, for our future in space, and for the secrets that Mars might be hiding? As scientists scrambled to understand the nature of the signals, theories began to emerge. Some suggested that 3i Atlas could be part of a much larger undiscovered interstellar mission, one that involved Mars in ways we couldn't yet comprehend. Could the object's trajectory, its emissions, and the strange signals be part of a long-awaited plan to transform the planet or make contact with something, or someone, on its surface? Others were more cautious, pointing out that these signals could simply be a result of 3i Atlas interacting with the solar winds or cosmic radiation in ways we didn't fully understand. But even they couldn't deny the timing. As the object made its way toward Mars, the signals became increasingly deliberate, almost as if they were purposefully aligned with the planet's position. No matter how you looked at it, the mysterious signals from 3I Atlas were difficult to explain. While they could have been an artifact of the object's passage through our solar system, the idea that they were the result of natural phenomena seemed increasingly unlikely. As each new pulse echoed through the void, the mystery deepened. What was 3I Atlas really trying to tell us? And more importantly, why were these signals coming from an object so clearly linked to Mars? Were they simply the result of a comet passing through the solar system? Or was there something far more profound, and perhaps far more dangerous, at play? As space agencies continue to study the signals, the world watches closely. With Mars looming ever closer on the horizon, the implications of these mysterious pulses could be far greater than anyone imagined. Whether they are a warning, a message, or a precursor to something even more disturbing, one thing is certain. The signals from 3I Atlas are not to be ignored. They may just be the first step in a much larger, more complex story, a story that may change everything we thought we knew about our place in the cosmos. As 3I Atlas neared Mars, anticipation among the scientific community reached a fever pitch. The Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, MRO, one of NASA's most advanced space probes, was perfectly positioned to capture high-resolution images of the object during its closest pass. With its state-of-the-art cameras and powerful imaging technology, the MRO was supposed to be the eyes of the mission, providing invaluable data to help piece together the mystery of 3I Atlas. Yet, as the object moved into range, the MRO's cameras remained silent, offering nothing but a void where once there should have been groundbreaking imagery. The inexplicable lack of data sent ripples of concern throughout the space community. Why was the orbiter, capable of capturing some of the most detailed images of Mars itself, unable to get a clear shot of the object that was heading toward it with such precision? This silence was far from the norm. The MRO had, after all, been the cornerstone of Mars exploration for over a decade. It had provided high-resolution imagery of the Martian surface, mapping the planet in unparalleled detail. Its cameras had been used to identify landing sites for rovers, study weather patterns, and even track dust storms across the Martian landscape. But as 3I Atlas passed within a relatively close distance, something was amiss. The usual flow of data, the continuous stream of images and observations, was conspicuously absent. No detailed snapshots, no close-ups, nothing. The silence was deafening, and as each hour passed without any substantial data from the MRO, suspicions began to rise. Was the object simply too strange for the orbiter to capture, or was something more deliberate at play? NASA's response, or lack thereof, only deepened the mystery. Official channels were curiously quiet, offering vague statements and a little explanation for the absence of data. In an age where space missions are often accompanied by a deluge of live updates, this sudden radio silence felt increasingly suspicious. Why had NASA, a leading space agency with years of experience in Mars exploration, failed to secure the very images everyone was expecting? Was there something about 3I Atlas that made it difficult to photograph? Something that defied the orbiter's advanced technology? Or was there an external force at play, one that was preventing the public from seeing the object in full view? As rumours swirled, the more troubling possibility began to take shape. Perhaps there were forces at work behind the scenes that were actively suppressing the release of critical information. The MRO, after all, was not operating in a vacuum. It was part of a larger network of space missions, with data being shared among international space agencies. If the MRO was unable to capture images of 3I Atlas, could it be that the object was somehow blocking its sensors or emitting signals that interfered with the imaging process? Or, as some began to speculate, was the lack of images not a technological failure but a deliberate decision to withhold information? Could NASA and other space agencies have intentionally chosen not to release the images, fearing the implications of what they might reveal? The more one examined the silence, the more it seemed as though the stakes were higher than anyone was willing to admit. 3I Atlas was already proving to be unlike any object humanity had encountered before. Its strange shape, the inexplicable signals emanating from it, and the growing sense that it was headed directly for Mars only added to its mystery. If the orbiter was withholding its images of the object, it could mean that what was being discovered was too sensitive to share. The thought that 3I Atlas might not be a comet at all, but something far more complex, perhaps even artificial, was a theory gaining traction. Could the spacecraft be deliberately hiding the object's true nature to prevent panic or confusion among the public? Or was there something more insidious at play, a larger conspiracy to keep the truth hidden? Meanwhile, the lack of images began to attract attention from independent astronomers and private researchers. Equipped with telescopes and advanced imaging software, they began to monitor 3 Atlas as it moved closer to Mars, trying to capture what the MRO had seemingly failed to document. Their findings, while interesting, were often marred by the limitations of their equipment. The images they produced were distant, low resolution, and provided little more than faint glimpses of the object. It was clear that only the MRO, with its superior technology, could provide the kind of detailed insight that would solve the mystery once and for all. And yet, it remained silent. As the days passed and the object approached Mars, the question lingered. What was it about 3I Atlas that made it so difficult to capture? Was it truly an anomaly in the sky, too unusual for even the most advanced imaging systems to make sense of? Or was there something darker at play, an effort to keep the public from seeing the full picture? The silence from NASA and the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter left more questions than answers, and with each passing moment, the tension surrounding 3 Atlas grew. Could this be a case of technological failure, or was it something more profound? An attempt to suppress knowledge of an object that held far more significance than anyone had anticipated. The silence from the MRO only deepened the mystery of 3I Atlas, and as the object neared its closest approach to Mars, the world was left to wonder, what was really being hidden from view? While official sources remained tight-lipped, withholding the highly anticipated images of 3I Atlas, the Perseverance rover, stationed on the Martian surface, became an unlikely source of revelation. Equipped with cutting-edge technology, the rover had been diligently capturing data and images of Mars, unaware that it would play a crucial role in uncovering the truth behind the mysterious interstellar visitor. As 3 Atlas passed close enough to Mars to be in the rover's line of sight, Perseverance captured some of the first clear photographs of the object, images that would leave the world reeling in disbelief. What Perseverance revealed was nothing short of shocking. The object in question was not the typical comet we've grown accustomed to observing. It was, in fact, a stark departure from the usual cosmic wanderers that streak across our skies. 3 Atlas appeared geometric in shape, a striking anomaly with sharp, angular features that could not be easily explained by natural processes. Unlike the irregular, often jagged surfaces of comets, which are typically marked by craters, debris, and a rough, chaotic texture, this object displayed a symmetry that seemed almost too deliberate, too engineered. The angles were unnaturally precise, and the proportions of the object defied the random nature of most space debris. It was as if 3I Atlas had been constructed, not formed by cosmic forces. This revelation raised immediate questions. Was this truly an anomaly? Or was it confirmation that we were looking at something intentionally engineered, something not naturally occurring at all? The images, now circulating online and sparking a frenzy of debate, presented an object so radically different from what was expected that many couldn't help but wonder if the object had a more profound origin. The geometric shape, reminiscent of an artificial satellite or spacecraft, stood in stark contrast to the fluffy, irregular forms of traditional comets. With sharp edges, defined symmetry, and an almost mechanical quality, 3I Atlas resembled something designed, not a product of space's natural chaos. For some, the very appearance of the object suggested that it had been constructed with purpose, a manufactured entity in motion rather than a cosmic rock passing by the solar system. The first official reaction to these groundbreaking images was predictably cautious. NASA, ever careful with its public communications, refrained from making any bold statements or jumping to conclusions. Instead, they offered a measured response, acknowledging that the images from Perseverance were certainly intriguing, but cautioning that further analysis was required. NASA scientists, while carefully noting the unusual characteristics of 3I Atlas, emphasized the need for additional observations before any definitive conclusions could be made. This hesitance, however, only seemed to amplify the growing sense of suspicion among the global community. After all, when the first real images of an interstellar visitor appeared to defy all expectations, why would anyone wait for more data to confirm what was already evident? Meanwhile, independent astronomers and online space enthusiasts pounced on the images. Armed with their own knowledge and tools, many pointed to the object's unnatural shape as evidence that 3I Atlas was no ordinary comet. Social media platforms and astronomy forums quickly erupted with discussions, with some even drawing comparisons to the infamous Oumuamua, which had similarly confounded scientists upon its discovery. The sharp, defined lines of 3I Atlas were now being highlighted as something not naturally occurring. Observations from amateurs and professionals alike quickly circled around one clear conclusion. 3I Atlas could not simply be a comet. It was something far more complicated, far more intentional. For the growing community of armchair astronomers, the idea that 3I Atlas was an artificial object began to gain traction. The object's smooth, cylindrical shape, and its eerie resemblance to a spacecraft, albeit on a cosmic scale, began to suggest that the object may not have simply drifted into the solar system. Instead, some hypothesized that it was deliberately placed on a trajectory designed to bring it close to Mars. The precise alignment of its path, the strange signals emanating from it, and now these images, could all of these elements be part of an intentional design? Was this object sent by an unknown intelligence, a probe, or perhaps even a message from beyond our solar system? The absence of immediate official answers left the door wide open for speculation. While NASA kept its distance, the public's curiosity was boundless. Some saw the geometric features of 3I Atlas as proof of manufactured origin, while others wondered if it was merely a natural object with unusual properties. Could it be a remnant from a long-forgotten civilization, a relic from the depths of space, or perhaps a deliberate piece of interstellar engineering dropped into our path with a purpose we have yet to comprehend? As the world continued to digest the implications of the Perseverance images, one thing became clear. 3I Atlas was far from ordinary. Whether the object was a naturally occurring anomaly or something crafted with purpose, it had captured humanity's imagination in ways that few objects before it had. The questions surrounding its origins, its path, and its significance would undoubtedly continue to unfold. But for now, the images from Perseverance remained a stark reminder that our understanding of the cosmos was being pushed to its limits, and the mysteries of the universe were far from solved. With every new image, the object became more than just a visitor from beyond the stars. It became a key to unraveling a mystery that could change everything we thought we knew about space, technology, and life itself. As the world watched in awe and confusion, scientists turned their focus toward analyzing the chemical composition of the gases emanating from 3I Atlas. What they found sent shockwaves through the scientific community and deepened the mystery surrounding the object. The initial assumption was that 3I Atlas, like most comets, would release typical chemical signatures as it passed through the solar system. However, as the data came in, it became clear that something was drastically different. The expected ratio of carbon to oxygen, which should have aligned with the common composition of comets, was off by a considerable margin. Instead of the usual chemical makeup, the ratio appeared to match something far more unusual, something that suggested a deliberate chemical design. The gases being emitted from 3I Atlas resembled the chemical composition of a laboratory-designed cocktail, one that would be used in experiments to terraform a planet. This discovery was nothing short of astonishing. While comets typically release a mix of water ice, carbon dioxide, methane, and other organic compounds, the particular combination detected from 3I Atlas did not fit the mold. The carbon-to-oxygen ratio found in the emissions was more consistent with what one would expect from a carefully engineered substance, one designed to initiate chemical reactions on a planetary scale. And as the analysis continued, it became clear that this was not a random occurrence. What was being released from 3I Atlas had the potential to alter the very atmosphere of a planet, potentially kick-starting a process that could change the environment in profound ways. The possibility that 3i Atlas could be carrying a payload designed for terraforming or altering the environment of a planet like Mars was an unsettling thought. Could this object, which had been classified as a simple interstellar comet, actually be a cosmic delivery system? Was it possible that 3i Atlas was carrying out a premeditated mission, one that involved preparing Mars for a future transformation? The idea that this interstellar visitor might not just be passing through, but actively playing a role in altering the course of Martian history, raised new and unnerving questions. If 3i Atlas was indeed delivering a chemical payload, it would explain its strange trajectory and its seemingly deliberate passage through our solar system. Mars, long considered a candidate for human colonization, had been the focus of numerous missions aimed at studying its atmosphere and potential for life. But what if this object's arrival was no coincidence? What if 3i Atlas was part of a much larger, more intricate plan to alter the environment of Mars and make it more suitable for some future purpose? The thought that 3i Atlas could be carrying out a terraforming operation suggested that the object's passage through the solar system was not just an accident of cosmic drift, but a carefully orchestrated event, a prelude to something far more significant. This discovery was not just a breakthrough in understanding the composition of the object, it also raised profound questions about the intentions behind 3i Atlas. Was it really just a comet, a natural occurrence that happened to carry a strange chemical signature? Or was it something far more complex, something with a purpose that extended beyond the realm of ordinary space phenomena? The possibility that 3i Atlas was engaged in an active mission, possibly involving Mars, left many wondering if this was the first in a series of steps toward a much larger and more coordinated effort to alter the conditions of a distant planet. The discovery also forced scientists to rethink the nature of interstellar objects. For years, comets like 3i Atlas had been thought of as simple remnants of early solar system formation, bits of ice and rock left over from the formation of stars and planets. But the chemical findings suggested something entirely different. Could 3i Atlas have been sent by an intelligence far beyond our own, with the capacity to engineer not just physical structures but entire ecosystems? The idea that the object's chemical composition was not just a product of nature, but a carefully designed concoction, added an unsettling layer of complexity to the mystery. As these revelations sank in, the growing suspicion was that 3i Atlas was more than just a comet. The strange chemical anomaly could be a deliberate signal, a piece of a much larger puzzle that had yet to be fully understood. The object's journey through our solar system, its close approach to Mars, and now the evidence of terraforming chemicals, these were not the actions of a random space rock. They were the actions of something with purpose, something that might be preparing the way for the next chapter in Mars's story. Was this object a harbinger of change, or was it a catalyst signalling the beginning of an extraordinary transformation? Whatever the case, one thing was clear: the passage of 3i Atlas was no accident, and the secrets it carried were only beginning to surface. As images from independent astronomers began to filter through, it became increasingly evident that 3i Atlas was not behaving like any interstellar object humanity had ever encountered. Unlike the typical, irregular shapes of past interstellar visitors, such as the famous Oumuamua, 3i Atlas displayed a form that was strikingly different, elongated, cylindrical, and unnervingly symmetrical. Its features seemed almost too deliberate to be the result of natural forces. There was no chaotic, fragmented surface, no scattering of debris that one would expect from a typical comet, no jagged edges or erratic behaviour. Instead, 3i Atlas presented a smooth, pristine surface, one that stood in stark contrast to the rugged, unpredictable appearance of its predecessors. The more detailed the images became, the more questions emerged. Comets, by their very nature, are ragged and irregular. They are known for their icy cores and dusty comas, often emitting gas and debris as they approach the sun, creating tails that streak across the sky. 3i Atlas, however, was entirely different. Its sleek geometric shape, with smooth contours and defined edges, resembled more a manufactured object than a naturally occurring celestial body. As the object moved closer to Mars, its cylindrical shape became undeniable. The absence of the typical cometary features, the irregularities, the chaotic outgassing, left many to wonder, were we looking at a spacecraft? Was 3I Atlas some form of technology, deliberately constructed and placed on a trajectory toward Mars? The questions only deepened as astronomers analysed the surface of 3I Atlas. The surface appeared almost too perfect, with no visible craters, irregularities, or signs of decay that are typically found on comets. It was as if the object had been deliberately crafted, its surface smoothed and polished, rather than naturally shaped by cosmic forces. Such a feature was unprecedented in the history of interstellar objects, and it raised an unsettling possibility. This was not an accident of nature, but a deliberate creation. Was 3I Atlas a tool, a probe, or even a message, travelling from a distant corner of the universe with purpose? The object's unusual appearance also sparked comparisons to other artificial objects humanity had encountered, including satellites and spacecraft. The shape, the symmetry, and the smoothness of the surface seemed far more akin to something that had been engineered rather than something that had naturally evolved in the cold void of space. If 3I Atlas was not a comet, and if it was not a natural object, then what exactly was it? Who or what had sent it, and what was its purpose? These questions were not just idle musings. They were urgent, pressing inquiries that demanded answers. The more the object's trajectory aligned with Mars, the more the possibility that it was sent intentionally seemed plausible. Could 3I Atlas be a probe, a technological device deliberately placed on a path that would bring it close to the red planet? Could it be part of a much larger plan, a first step in something even more extraordinary? As the object grew larger in the view of telescopes and cameras, the questions only grew more intense. If it was indeed a piece of technology, what was its purpose on Mars? Was it observing the planet, studying it from afar, or was it preparing the planet for something much more significant? The sudden appearance of such an anomalous object, coupled with its unexpected trajectory and unexplainable features, raised the stakes of the mystery to unprecedented levels. Was 3I Atlas simply an oddity, an interstellar traveller that defied explanation, or was it the first sign of something far greater? Could Mars, the planet that had long been the subject of human fascination, be the true destination of 3I Atlas? The idea that 3I Atlas might have been sent specifically to Mars, whether as a probe, a harbinger, or a precursor to something larger, began to take hold among researchers and theorists alike. If 3I Atlas was indeed some form of technology, what kind of civilization would have the means and the knowledge to construct such an object? Could it have been sent by an alien civilization with advanced spacefaring capabilities? Or, perhaps more disturbingly, could it be the work of a civilization far older and more advanced than our own, one whose purpose in sending 3 Atlas remains hidden? The questions grew ever more complex as the object continued its approach, its smooth cylindrical shape casting an unsettling shadow over everything we thought we knew about interstellar objects. As the world awaited further images and data from space agencies, the possibility that 3I Atlas was something more than a simple comet became undeniable. Its unusual shape, its strange surface, and its calculated trajectory suggested that this was no ordinary object. 3I Atlas was a mystery, and its true purpose, whether as a technological marvel or something far more extraordinary, was only beginning to unfold. Whatever the answers might be, one thing was clear. 3 Atlas was not just a visitor from another star system. It was a puzzle that would redefine our understanding of the universe. One of the most perplexing and unusual aspects of 3I Atlas that has left scientists and astronomers scratching their heads is the mysterious green glow that emanated from the object during its closest approach to the Sun. While comets are known to develop glowing tails as they pass close to the Sun, this particular phenomenon was different in several key ways. For one, the green hue of the glow was unlike anything previously recorded. The intensity and distinctiveness of the colour set it apart from the typical icy blue or white tails that most comets exhibit when they approach our star. But what was even more baffling was the timing and location of the glow. Comets typically don't begin to glow brightly until they are within a certain distance from the Sun, where the heat starts to vaporize the ice and dust on their surfaces, creating a bright halo or coma around the object. but 3i Atlas was exhibiting its glow at a much greater distance, far beyond the point where sunlight should have been strong enough to cause the typical outgassing reaction seen in comets. At the time the glow began to intensify, the object was still far from the sun, and sunlight should have been weak, barely capable of affecting its icy core. This discrepancy raised immediate questions about the source of the glow. What could be causing it? As the green glow persisted and became more pronounced, some scientists began to speculate that it could be something far more unusual than the typical cometary tail. One theory that gained traction was the possibility that the glow was not a result of the usual outgassing caused by the sun's heat, but instead the result of some kind of artificial light or propulsion system at work. Could this glow be the byproduct of a technology that we have yet to fully understand? Some theorists went further, suggesting that the glow could be the signature of an energy source designed to power a spacecraft or a system of propulsion. Could 3i Atlas be more than just an interstellar comet, but an active vessel, one that was emitting energy for a purpose, and that purpose was tied to its passage through our solar system, and more specifically to its proximity to Mars? The idea that this green glow might be intentional and part of an engineered system is a provocative one. If 3i Atlas were indeed a spacecraft or probe, the presence of such an energy signature could be the result of propulsion systems designed to move the object with precision through space. The green glow might not be a natural byproduct of cosmic processes, but instead the deliberate emission of energy to guide the object on its predetermined course. This theory would explain why the glow was visible so far from the sun, at a distance where the natural processes of cometary outgassing should have been insufficient to cause such a visible effect. It suggested that 3 Atlas was not simply drifting, but actively maneuvering, perhaps with the goal of making a specific approach to Mars. But if the green glow was the result of a propulsion system, then the question of purpose became even more urgent. What was 3i Atlas doing in our solar system? Was it simply passing through, or was it performing a task, one that could involve Mars, the planet that had long been a target of human interest for potential colonization and exploration? Could 3 Atlas be an active vessel sent with a mission, perhaps to study Mars or even alter its environment in some way? The idea that 3i Atlas was not just a cosmic object, but a carefully engineered system with a purpose, opened up a whole new realm of possibilities. Of course, some scientists were cautious to jump to conclusions. They pointed out that while the green glow was indeed extraordinary, there could be natural explanations. Perhaps the glow was caused by rare chemical reactions or unusual interactions with cosmic radiation. But as the data accumulated and the mystery deepened, it became harder to dismiss the possibility that this glow was a sign of something more deliberate, something that went beyond the bounds of what we typically expect from interstellar objects. The implications of this discovery were far-reaching. If 3 Atlas were indeed an engineered object, then it would suggest that we were not simply observing a random visitor from another star system, but rather an object with a purpose that could be tied to Mars and its future. Could the object be part of an effort to prepare Mars for some kind of transformation, or perhaps to investigate the planet for reasons we cannot yet understand? If 3i Atlas was an active vessel, then the questions about its true mission became even more urgent. What was its objective? Was it a message, a probe, or even a precursor to something larger? The green glow of 3i Atlas continues to fascinate and mystify astronomers, and as the object moves closer to Mars, the true nature of this anomalous glow may soon become clearer. For now, however, it remains a tantalizing clue, one that points to a deeper mystery that could redefine our understanding of interstellar objects and perhaps even of the universe itself. Could 3i Atlas be more than just an accidental visitor, a stray comet passing through the solar system? Or could it be part of something much larger, a carefully orchestrated plan with Mars at its very heart? As scientists continue to study the object and its unusual properties, one thing remains certain. The green glow of 3i Atlas is not just a strange phenomenon, it may be the key to unlocking a mystery that reaches far beyond our understanding of the cosmos. As 3i Atlas made its way deeper into our solar system, the question on everyone's mind was why Mars? Out of all the planets in our solar system, why had this interstellar object chosen the red planet as its point of focus? After all, Mars, despite being the most Earth-like planet in terms of its potential for human habitation, is still far from hospitable. Its atmosphere is thin, its surface temperatures are cold, and its landscape is barren and desolate. Yet, in recent decades, Mars has increasingly become the focal point for humanity's space exploration ambitions. Robotic missions have been sent to study its surface, its atmosphere, and its potential to support life. But none of these missions have carried the weight of a cosmic visitor like 3I Atlas, whose presence on a trajectory toward Mars seems far too deliberate to be dismissed as a mere coincidence. The object's alignment with Mars' orbit was too precise to ignore. As 3 Atlas made its way through the solar system, its trajectory appeared to have been calculated with almost uncanny accuracy. The way it was heading directly toward Mars, intersecting the planet's orbit with such precision, seemed intentional, as though the object was on a mission that, at least for now, seemed to involve the red planet. The fact that 3I Atlas was not simply passing through the solar system, but heading directly for Mars raised suspicions that something much more significant was at play. Was this all a cosmic accident, or was the object's path the result of some unseen force, guiding it toward Mars for a reason? Some theorists and scientists have begun to entertain the idea that the alignment of 3I Atlas with Mars' orbit is not a coincidence at all. They suggest that there may be something about Mars, something hidden beneath its surface or locked within its past, that holds the key to understanding the true purpose of 3I Atlas. In many ways, Mars has long been a symbol of humanity's aspirations for the future. It is the planet we have chosen to focus our efforts on, the next great frontier in space exploration. For decades we have speculated about the possibility of life on Mars, about its potential to support human colonies, and about the mysteries buried within its soil. Could it be that 3I Atlas is somehow connected to these questions? Is Mars the final piece in a much larger cosmic puzzle? Theories abound about what 3I Atlas could be, but the possibility that it is somehow tied to Mars is compelling. Some suggest that the object could be carrying a message or a signal, perhaps a sign of some advanced intelligence aware of our growing interest in the red planet. If the object is indeed not just a comet, but something much more complex, could it be an invitation, a warning, or a directive aimed specifically at Mars? If 3 Atlas is not a random visitor, but an active, purposeful vessel, it is possible that it is drawn to Mars for reasons far beyond our understanding, perhaps to study it, alter its environment, or prepare it for something yet to unfold. Mars has long been the subject of theories involving ancient civilizations, extraterrestrial encounters, and even terraforming. Could 3 Atlas be involved in a process we have yet to fully comprehend, one that could transform the planet into a more habitable environment? The chemical anomalies detected within 3 Atlas have already hinted at the possibility of terraforming-related substances, leading some to speculate that the object's purpose is to kick-start an ancient process that has been dormant for millennia. If 3I Atlas is indeed tied to the transformation of Mars, it could be part of a larger, deliberate effort to make the planet more hospitable, perhaps even for future colonization. There are also those who believe that 3I Atlas may be connected to a much older cosmic design. For centuries, Mars has been a focal point in human mythology, from ancient cultures that saw the planet as a god or symbol of war, to modern space enthusiasts who view it as a potential second home for humanity. What if 3I Atlas's trajectory is part of a long-forgotten plan, one that predates humanity's understanding of space and time? Could the planet's role in the universe be more significant than we have ever imagined? Could Mars hold secrets that have been waiting for the right moment to be uncovered? As 3 Atlas continues its journey toward Mars, the mystery surrounding its purpose deepens. The object's path, its chemical composition, and the strange signals it has emitted all point to the possibility that Mars is not just a random destination in the cosmos. Whether it is a message, a probe, or part of a larger cosmic scheme, the idea that 3I Atlas is deliberately headed for Mars is both tantalizing and unsettling. As humanity continues to study the red planet and its potential for life, 3I Atlas's arrival forces us to confront the reality that Mars may not be as empty or as lifeless as we have been led to believe. the possibility that the object's arrival is no accident, that it is tied to a much grander purpose, raises more questions than it answers. But one thing is certain: whatever the mission of 3i Atlas may be, Mars is now at the centre of it all, and its mysteries may be closer to being unlocked than we ever imagined. As 3i Atlas moved closer to Mars, the excitement surrounding the object's approach quickly turned into a more unsettling speculation. Among the many theories being discussed, one began to emerge as particularly intriguing, and perhaps a bit alarming. Could 3i Atlas, this strange interstellar visitor, be part of a much larger long-term plan to alter the Martian environment? What if it was not merely a passing comet, but an instrument in an elaborate terraforming mission, deliberately designed to prepare Mars for a future that humanity had yet to comprehend? The idea of terraforming, or the intentional modification of a planet's atmosphere to make it habitable for humans, had long been relegated to the realm of science fiction. But as the latest data about 3i Atlas's chemical composition began to surface, it became increasingly difficult to dismiss the possibility that the object was involved in exactly such a mission. The gases detected coming from 3i Atlas matched the kind of chemical signatures that are commonly associated with the process of atmospheric modification. For decades, scientists have speculated about the feasibility of transforming Mars, long considered an inhospitable world with its thin, carbon dioxide-heavy atmosphere, into a more Earth-like environment, one capable of supporting human life. The idea that 3i Atlas could be carrying the very chemicals needed to begin such a transformation was an unnerving thought, but it also made a strange kind of sense. If 3i Atlas was indeed involved in terraforming, it would explain its highly calculated path through the solar system, especially its focus on Mars. The timing of its arrival couldn't be more precise. For years, Mars has been the subject of intense scrutiny and exploration, not just by robotic missions, but by the human imagination. The planet's proximity to Earth, its potential for life, and its geological similarities have made it the most likely candidate for future colonization. But despite all of humanity's efforts, Mars has remained stubbornly uninhabitable. Its atmosphere is too thin to support Earth-like life, its surface too cold and dry, and its lack of a magnetic field leaves it vulnerable to harmful solar radiation. Could 3i Atlas be the key to solving these challenges? As scientists delved deeper into the object's chemical makeup, they discovered that the gases it was emitting were not those typically associated with comets. Instead, the composition included compounds that could potentially kickstart a process known as atmospheric thickening. These chemicals, particularly carbon dioxide, water vapor, and other trace gases, are crucial to creating a greenhouse effect, which could warm the Martian atmosphere and begin to melt the polar ice caps, releasing trapped carbon dioxide and further thickening the atmosphere. Such a process could eventually make Mars more hospitable by raising surface temperatures and increasing atmospheric pressure, potentially creating a more Earth-like environment. If 3i Atlas is indeed carrying out such a mission, its presence at this specific moment in Mars history would be no coincidence. It could be the first step in a much larger plan, one that could take centuries, if not millennia, to unfold. The idea that 3i Atlas might be part of a terraforming mission raises even more unsettling questions. If this object is indeed a tool for atmospheric modification, could it be a precursor to a larger coordinated effort to prepare Mars for future colonization? Some theorists have speculated that 3i Atlas could be part of an ancient, long-forgotten project, one that has been unfolding over eons, possibly even predating human civilization. Was Mars always intended to be transformed into a habitable world? Could 3i Atlas be the first of many such objects sent to prepare the planet for eventual settlement? Alternatively, some have wondered if 3i Atlas could be the work of an advanced extraterrestrial civilization, one that has been monitoring the progress of Mars for centuries or even millennia. The idea that an ancient intelligence could be orchestrating the transformation of Mars, preparing it for future inhabitants, is a theory that has gained traction among certain researchers. After all, if 3i Atlas were an active participant in a terraforming project, it would suggest a level of technological sophistication far beyond anything we currently possess. Whatever the true nature of 3i Atlas's mission, its approach to Mars has undeniably intensified the focus on the Red Planet. For years, humanity has dreamed of one day colonizing Mars, of sending astronauts to live and work on its surface. But the idea that Mars might already be undergoing a transformation, that it might be in the process of being prepared for future generations, raises new and profound questions. If 3i Atlas is indeed playing a role in terraforming the planet, then we may be witnessing the first step in a process that could take humanity to Mars much sooner than we anticipated. But if this object is part of a much larger plan, one that stretches beyond the limits of human understanding, then we are only beginning to uncover the true significance of 3i Atlas's presence in our solar system. As the object continues its approach to Mars, one thing remains clear. 3i Atlas is not just a comet. It is something far more extraordinary, and the potential implications for Mars and for the future of humanity are still unfolding. As the first images and data surrounding 3 Atlas made their way into the public eye, the excitement among astronomers and space enthusiasts was palpable. This was no ordinary interstellar object. The unexpected shape, the strange chemical composition, and the anomalous green glow were all pointing towards something that defied the usual understanding of comets. But as the initial wave of discovery hit, it became clear that space agencies, most notably NASA and the European Space Agency, ESA, were operating with an unusual amount of secrecy. While some information trickled out to the public, much of the critical data remained behind closed doors, carefully guarded and withheld from the eager eyes of the global community. It was not lost on anyone that this silence came at a time when the mystery surrounding 3i Atlas was growing more complex by the day. The object's trajectory, its strange emissions, and the potential implications of its interaction with Mars were raising profound questions. Yet, despite the mounting evidence that something far more significant was at play, space agencies remained tight-lipped. For organizations that typically prided themselves on sharing information and engaging with the public, this level of restraint was unusual to say the least. Why were NASA, ESA, and other space agencies withholding such critical information? What was it that they knew about 3i Atlas that they weren't willing to share? The silence from these organizations was compounded by the fact that traditionally space missions, especially those involving major discoveries, are accompanied by a steady stream of updates, press releases, and live data feeds. But with 3i Atlas, there was none of that. In the past, when interstellar objects like Oumuamua passed through our solar system, data was shared almost immediately, with real-time images and observations made available to the public. Yet with 3i Atlas, the opposite was happening. As astronomers and independent researchers eagerly awaited more information, the official narrative remained cautious, and the data released was sparse. Why this sudden change in approach? Some experts speculated that the unusual nature of 3i Atlas was behind the secrecy. Perhaps space agencies were waiting for more conclusive data before making any definitive statements. After all, the object's unusual shape, chemical composition, and behavior were far beyond the scope of what was initially expected from an interstellar comet. But as the evidence mounted, it became increasingly clear that the official story didn't seem to match the reality unfolding before the public. The images of 3 Atlas from Perseverance, the detection of strange electromagnetic signals, and the chemical anomalies all pointed to something far more alarming than a simple interstellar comet. The mounting evidence suggested that 3i Atlas was not just a cosmic wanderer, but something far more intentional, far more engineered. The object's precise alignment with Mars, the presence of chemicals that could potentially alter the Martian atmosphere, and its strange, seemingly deliberate behavior were too significant to be ignored. And yet, space agencies remained silent, withholding crucial information that might help the public understand what was truly at stake. The questions surrounding 3i Atlas were becoming more pressing by the day. Was this object truly a natural phenomenon, or was it part of something much larger, something that had been orchestrated over millennia? And if so, why weren't the space agencies willing to share the full story? This silence gave rise to a growing sense of suspicion among independent researchers and amateur astronomers. If the object was merely a comet, why the secrecy? Why was so much critical data being kept behind closed doors? The lack of transparency only fueled the conspiracy theories. Some speculated that 3i Atlas was not just a comet, but a deliberate message from an advanced civilization, or even a tool designed to carry out some sort of cosmic mission. The idea that space agencies were withholding information suggested that there was more to the story than they were willing to admit. Were they trying to protect humanity from the truth? Or was there something more sinister at play? Something they feared would provoke widespread panic? The official narrative, which remained cautious and deliberate, only added to the sense of uncertainty. NASA and ESA's decision to withhold such critical information left many questioning their motives. In an age where data is often shared freely and openly, the withholding of key details about 3i Atlas seemed out of character. The silence from space agencies, coupled with the increasingly strange behavior of the object, suggested that the situation was far more serious than anyone had anticipated. Were the space agencies hiding something? What did they know that the public didn't? As the mystery deepened and the object continued its path toward Mars, the unanswered questions only grew. The secrecy surrounding 3i Atlas began to take on a life of its own, with more and more people speculating about the true nature of the object and the reasons behind the official silence. Theories ranged from the object being a highly classified government project to the possibility that 3 Atlas was a harbinger of something far greater, a sign that humanity was on the brink of discovering something far beyond our current understanding of the universe. But as the silence from NASA, ESA, and other space agencies continued, one thing became clear. The official narrative didn't seem to match the mounting evidence. The growing suspicion that something far more alarming than a simple interstellar comet was at play only deepened the mystery of 3i Atlas. And as the object continued its journey toward Mars, humanity was left to wonder. What did the space agencies know, and why were they so reluctant to share the truth? As the mystery of 3i Atlas deepened, it wasn't just scientists and astronomers who were paying attention. In the realm of alternative research, a remote viewing group made waves by claiming to have seen disturbing images of the object long before the official photographs were released to the public. These remote viewers, who had trained themselves to access what they described as a higher level of perception, painted a picture of 3i Atlas that was radically different from the one being presented by official sources. According to their accounts, 3i Atlas was not a comet at all. It was, they asserted, a carefully constructed object, designed with a specific purpose in mind. Their description of the object went far beyond what any telescope or imaging technology had captured. They spoke of a smooth geometric structure, one that was not the result of cosmic chaos, but rather the product of advanced engineering. What they described was an object unlike anything humanity had encountered. It wasn't just a rock or an icy remnant from another star system. It was a technological marvel, one that seemed to carry the unmistakable signatures of ancient, possibly alien, technology embedded within it. The remote viewers claimed that the object's surface was not only smooth and symmetrical, but also adorned with markings or patterns that suggested it had been built, perhaps long ago, by a civilization far more advanced than ours. They spoke of intricate designs that appeared to be etched into the surface, symbols or inscriptions that had the feel of ancient technology, lost to time yet somehow still functional. According to their reports, these markings were not merely decorative, but were likely part of the object's operation, possibly linked to its ability to navigate and transmit signals. The most disturbing part of their account, however, was the strange signals that were being broadcast from the core of 3i Atlas. While space agencies had detected some unusual electromagnetic pulses coming from the object, the remote viewers were able to describe them in far greater detail. They claimed the signals were not random, but rather structured, like a transmission with intent. These signals were not merely cosmic interference, they were purposeful emissions, possibly designed to communicate with something or someone, or to fulfill a specific mission. This revelation sent a shockwave through the alternative research community. If what the remote viewers were describing was true, then 3i Atlas was far more than just a visitor from another star system. It was a piece of technology, a tool sent with a clear mission, and its true purpose was far from understood. Were these claims just the latest in a long line of conspiracy theories, or were they the first hints of something far darker at play? The remote viewers' descriptions were compelling, and while their methods were often viewed with skepticism by the scientific community, their consistency and the level of detail in their accounts couldn't easily be dismissed. They weren't the first to speculate that 3i Atlas was more than it appeared to be, but their descriptions of the object were some of the most vivid and disturbing to date. Some claimed that the object was not just an interstellar traveller, but a precursor to something much larger, something humanity had not yet grasped. What if 3i Atlas was sent to prepare Mars for something? Perhaps the arrival of its creators, or the transformation of the planet itself. The idea that 3i Atlas was a carefully constructed artifact, designed with a specific mission, raised unsettling possibilities. The remote viewers' accounts gained traction in certain circles, particularly among those who were already inclined to believe in the existence of extraterrestrial life or advanced technologies far beyond our own. Some theorists began to draw parallels between 3i Atlas and ancient myths of celestial visitors, beings from the stars who had come to Earth with a purpose. The idea that 3i Atlas might be part of an ancient plan to prepare Mars or even humanity for something much larger became a tantalizing possibility. Could 3i Atlas be a relic from a lost civilization, sent on a mission that had been set in motion millennia ago? Could it be that the object's journey through the solar system was part of a much older, cosmic agenda, one that humanity was only beginning to uncover? Despite the growing interest in the remote viewing accounts, the mainstream scientific community remained skeptical. Most scientists dismissed the claims as unprovable, even fantastical. But the consistent reports from the remote viewing group, combined with the growing body of evidence suggesting that 3i Atlas was not just a comet, began to raise serious questions. Could it be that the alternative research community was onto something that had eluded traditional science? Or was this yet another example of the human tendency to search for patterns and meanings where none exist? As 3i Atlas continued its journey through the solar system, the mystery surrounding it deepened. The possibility that the object was not merely a comet, but a carefully constructed tool, an ancient artifact broadcasting signals with purpose, raised the stakes in ways no one had anticipated. The whispers of remote viewers, combined with the official data, painted a picture of 3i Atlas that was as unsettling as it was intriguing. Whether or not their claims were valid, they added a layer of complexity to an already baffling situation. What was 3i Atlas really, and what was its mission? The more that was uncovered, the more it seemed that humanity was on the verge of a revelation far greater than anyone had anticipated, a revelation that could change everything we thought we knew about the universe and our place in it. As the mystery of 3i Atlas deepened, a striking connection began to emerge between the object and ancient Sumerian texts. While mainstream archaeology often dismisses these ancient writings as myth or legend, a growing number of researchers began to draw increasingly bold parallels between the descriptions in these texts and the mysterious interstellar object that had captured the world's attention. The Sumerian tablets, which date back thousands of years, tell tales of celestial beings, gods who descended from the stars, specifically from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius, an area in space that 3i Atlas is believed to have originated from. The fact that this celestial object, with its precise trajectory and strange characteristics, seemed to come from the very region mentioned in ancient texts, gave rise to a provocative theory. Was 3i Atlas merely a comet, or was it the return of the ancient sky gods, as described in these Sumerian prophecies? The Sumerian texts, most famously the Epic of Gilgamesh and other cuneiform writings, speak of beings known as the Anunnaki. These beings were said to have come from the stars, arriving on Earth from a distant world, sometimes referred to as Nibiru, located in the area of Sagittarius. The Sumerians believed these gods were responsible for shaping humanity and influencing the course of history, offering knowledge and technology far beyond what the people of that time could understand. These ancient accounts, often dismissed by mainstream historians as mythological or symbolic, have long been a subject of fascination for alternative researchers. The claim that beings from the stars arrived in the distant past has been interpreted by some as evidence of extraterrestrial contact, a theory that has been proposed for decades, but never fully accepted by the scientific community. What made this connection between the Sumerian texts and 3 Atlas particularly striking was the object's trajectory. Sagittarius, the very region from which the Sumerians believed the Anunnaki originated, was where 3i Atlas was thought to have come from. It wasn't just the object's path that raised eyebrows, but the sheer coincidence, or perhaps the deliberate design, of it aligning so closely with ancient prophecies. Could it be that the Sumerians were not just telling stories, but describing an event that was meant to happen again? Could 3i Atlas, with its seemingly purposeful course through the solar system, be part of a long-forgotten cosmic cycle, one that would bring the so-called sky gods back to our world? As researchers delved deeper into the similarities between the ancient texts and the modern astronomical data, the implications grew even more profound. The Sumerian texts are filled with references to the arrival of beings who possessed technology so advanced that it seemed to defy the laws of physics. These beings, the Anunnaki, were said to have the power to manipulate the Earth's environment, to alter the course of human history, and even to genetically modify early humans. Could 3 Atlas be a key to unlocking the truth behind these ancient myths? Was it possible that the arrival of this object marked the return of the Anunnaki, or some other cosmic intelligence, revisiting a planet they had once shaped, or perhaps preparing it for something more? Some theorists went even further, suggesting that the Sumerian descriptions of the Anunnaki were not just allegories or religious teachings, but coded accounts of extraterrestrial intervention. The idea that 3i Atlas could be part of a larger ongoing cosmic plan, one that stretches back millennia, was compelling. If the Anunnaki had once played a role in shaping Mars or even Earth, could 3i Atlas be their messenger, sent to complete what was begun so long ago? The possibility that this object was a deliberate engineered artifact tied to an ancient race, capable of manipulating planets and ecosystems, was a theory that some were quick to embrace. Yet, there were skeptics who argued that the connection was tenuous at best. They cautioned against drawing too many conclusions based on parallels between ancient myths and modern science. The region of Sagittarius, after all, is vast and contains countless stars and systems. 3i Atlas could simply be another cosmic traveller that happened to come from that general area. They pointed to the fact that many cultures across the globe have stories of celestial beings arriving from the sky, making it difficult to pin down any definitive link between ancient myth and modern discovery. To suggest that 3i Atlas was somehow the fulfillment of ancient prophecies, they argued, was to stretch the evidence too far. Nevertheless, the similarities were undeniable, and the tantalizing possibility that 3i Atlas might be connected to the ancient Sumerian prophecies only deepened the mystery surrounding the object. Was this truly just a comet, or was it something far more significant, something that tied the past to the present in ways we're only beginning to understand? As astronomers and researchers continued to study 3i Atlas, they couldn't ignore the fact that this object, with its strange trajectory and unusual features, seemed to be part of a larger narrative, one that may stretch back to the very origins of civilization itself. Could 3i Atlas be the first sign of a much grander cosmic plan, one that began with the Sumerians and continues today? The answers, as always, remain just out of reach, but the connection between the object and these ancient texts was a thread that many were reluctant to let go of, no matter how far-fetched it might seem. Before we dive deeper, if you find this fascinating, hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated. Tell me in the comments where you are listening from. Mars has always held a magnetic allure for scientists, theorists, and dreamers alike. For centuries, it has been the subject of speculation, its dusty, red surface and vast, barren plains fueling countless theories about what might have once existed on the planet. Some believe Mars may have hosted an advanced civilization long before Earth's human ancestors even emerged. Ancient ruins, peculiar geological formations, and traces of water on its surface all seem to suggest that, at some point in the distant past, Mars could have been far more hospitable than it is today. Yet, despite decades of exploration and study, no concrete proof has ever surfaced to confirm these theories. The idea of a lost Martian civilization remains firmly in the realm of speculation. But could the arrival of 3i Atlas be linked to this long-hidden history, offering a clue that the red planet is not as dead as we once believed? The evidence for a lost civilization on Mars is at best tenuous, Some researchers have pointed to unusual formations on the Martian surface, mysterious structures and shapes that appear far too regular and symmetrical to be natural. Others have cited the discovery of ancient riverbeds and lake beds, suggesting that Mars was once home to bodies of water capable of supporting life. Add to this the fact that Mars' atmosphere once appeared to be far thicker than it is today, and the notion that the planet could have once been home to an advanced civilization seems, at least theoretically, plausible. But the evidence is still scant. There are no definitive ruins, no artifacts, no clear signs that a complex technologically advanced society ever thrived on the Red Planet. Yet the possibility remains, and the arrival of 3i Atlas has only fueled this intrigue. Could the interstellar object be connected to this lost civilization? Some researchers have begun to entertain the possibility that 3i Atlas may not be a random visitor, but a signal, a harbinger of something far larger and more profound. If Mars once hosted an advanced civilization, one that had the ability to manipulate its environment, perhaps even terraform its own planet, then 3i Atlas could be part of a much older, larger plan to restore the planet to its former glory. The chemical composition detected on 3i Atlas, which seems to be consistent with the substances needed for terraforming, has led some to speculate that the object's arrival is no accident. Could it be carrying the final pieces of a long-forgotten plan to breathe life back into Mars, to restore its atmosphere and revive the ecosystem that may have once flourished there? The notion that 3i Atlas could be a signal or tool of an ancient Martian civilization raises a host of intriguing possibilities. The idea that Mars' once thriving environment could be revived, perhaps through a series of carefully orchestrated events, presents a new paradigm in the search for extraterrestrial life and cosmic manipulation. If 3i Atlas is indeed a part of this plan, its trajectory, its emissions, and its alignment with Mars could be seen as deliberate actions in the reawakening of the Red Planet. Perhaps the Martian civilization that once inhabited the planet had the technology to terraform not only their homeworld, but others as well, capable of manipulating the environment and atmosphere on a grand scale. And now, after millennia of dormancy, the return of 3i Atlas could signal that Mars is once again being prepared for a new phase of life, either as a future home for humanity or as part of a much grander cosmic design. For some, this theory fits into a broader, almost mythological narrative, one where advanced civilizations rise, fall, and leave behind hidden markers for future generations to uncover. The concept of ancient planetary engineers, beings capable of reshaping planets and ecosystems, fits with the broader mythologies of numerous ancient cultures, which often speak of gods who descended from the sky, bringing wisdom, technology, and power. Could the civilization that once thrived on Mars be the inspiration for these ancient tales? And if so, is it possible that 3i Atlas is not just an object but a tool, a relic of that ancient civilization, returning to complete the work that was started long ago? The mystery surrounding Mars is far from solved. Each new discovery, each new piece of data, only deepens the intrigue. If 3i Atlas is indeed tied to an ancient Martian civilization, then its arrival could be seen as a signal, a harbinger of change, and the first step in the planet's gradual transformation back to life. Perhaps Mars is not as dead as we once thought. Perhaps the planet is not just a barren wasteland, but a sleeping giant, waiting for the right moment to be awakened. The arrival of 3i Atlas could be the key to unlocking the mysteries of the Red Planet, questions that have lingered for centuries, but whose answers may finally be within our reach. Whether or not Mars once hosted a thriving civilization, the possibility that the planet is being prepared for something greater remains a tantalizing mystery, one that may only become clearer as the story of 3i Atlas continues to unfold. As the mystery surrounding 3i Atlas deepened and more data flooded in, a disturbing yet increasingly plausible hypothesis began to take root among some of the scientific community and alternative researchers alike. Could 3i Atlas, the object that had captivated the world with its strange trajectory and unusual properties, be more than just a comet? What if it were a sophisticated device, sent by an ancient civilization with the purpose of transforming Mars into a more habitable world? The more the object's chemical composition, trajectory, and bizarre signals were examined, the more this theory began to take on an unsettling sense of inevitability. Could 3i Atlas be part of a much larger interstellar mission, one that had been unfolding over millennia? Could Mars have been visited long before, and this object be the final key to a cosmic terraforming project aimed at preparing the red planet for future life? The evidence, as it began to stack up, suggested that 3i Atlas was no ordinary visitor from another star system. Its precise alignment with Mars' orbit, combined with the chemical signature detected in its emissions, was too deliberate to be the result of natural processes. Comets, while often beautiful and intriguing, typically don't behave in such calculated ways. They follow erratic paths, their trajectories influenced by gravity, their chemical compositions more or less predictable. But 3i Atlas seemed different. The object's path through the solar system appeared almost engineered, as though it were following a predetermined course, a course that led it to Mars at a critical moment. This was not just a random comet passing through. It felt as though 3i Atlas had a mission, and Mars was the destination. The chemical composition of 3i Atlas further strengthened this theory. The gases emanating from the object were unlike those typically associated with comets. They contained high levels of carbon dioxide, water vapour, and other compounds that, when released into the atmosphere of a planet like Mars, could initiate a process of atmospheric thickening. Such a process is central to terraforming, where the goal is to alter a planet's atmosphere to make it more Earth-like. The fact that these compounds were detected at precisely the right moment, as Mars was being studied more intently than ever, suggested that 3i Atlas wasn't just a cosmic wanderer. It seemed to be part of a much grander plan, one that had likely been set in motion long before humans ever set foot on Mars. Was 3i Atlas the first of its kind to arrive, or was it simply the latest in a series of objects sent to prepare Mars for a transformation? The strange signals detected coming from 3i Atlas only added to the sense that this object was no ordinary comet. These signals, unlike any known natural emissions from comets, suggested the presence of an active, intelligent source. The signals appeared to be deliberately patterned, as though they were meant to convey information. Were these signals the last piece of communication from an ancient civilization, or were they part of a larger effort to coordinate the terraforming of Mars? The idea that 3i Atlas was part of a coordinated long-term project to terraform the planet made the presence of these signals feel even more significant. Could they be a message, a signal to some other part of the system, or even a call to action? This growing body of evidence led some to speculate that Mars had been visited before, possibly many times, by similar objects. If 3i Atlas was part of an ongoing mission to terraform the red planet, then perhaps other objects had arrived in the past, each contributing a different piece to the puzzle. Some theorists pointed to the many unexplained features on Mars, ancient riverbeds, unusual geological formations, and the presence of water in the past, as signs that the planet had once been habitable, perhaps even a thriving ecosystem. Could this be the legacy of a lost Martian civilization, one that had engineered its environment before it disappeared? Or, even more tantalizing, could 3i Atlas and similar objects be part of a larger interstellar effort to bring Mars back to life, to restore it to a state where it could once again support life? If this theory holds, the arrival of 3i Atlas is not just an astronomical event, but a moment of profound significance in the larger scheme of cosmic history. The idea that Mars is being actively transformed by an ancient civilization, or perhaps by an extraterrestrial intelligence with the knowledge and power to terraform entire planets, adds a layer of mystery and wonder that stretches far beyond anything we've ever considered. This could be the beginning of a new chapter in our understanding of the universe, one in which planets like Mars are not just barren wastelands, but carefully managed environments, shaped by cosmic forces or advanced beings with the power to alter worlds. As the object nears its closest approach to Mars, the questions become more pressing. Is 3i Atlas simply a comet, a random object passing through our solar system? Or is it part of something much larger, an ancient interstellar mission to prepare Mars for something far more significant? The mounting evidence points to the latter, suggesting that 3i Atlas is far more than just a visitor from another star system. It is a sign that Mars is once again being transformed and that the future of the red planet, and perhaps even humanity, is tied to a much larger cosmic plan. Whether we are prepared for it or not, the arrival of 3I Atlas marks the beginning of a new chapter in the story of Mars, one that could change everything we know about the planet, our place in the universe, and the potential for life beyond Earth. As the luminous green glow surrounding 3I Atlas intensified, scientists and astronomers around the world scrambled to understand its true origin. The phenomenon was unlike anything they had ever documented before. At first, many believed it to be a simple chemical reaction, a byproduct of volatile gases interacting with solar radiation. But as the object continued its journey toward Mars, the glow became brighter, steadier, and more deliberate. This wasn't the chaotic flicker of a natural reaction. It pulsed in intervals, almost rhythmic, as though it were being controlled. The deeper researchers probed, the more it became apparent that the green light was not a reflection of sunlight or the result of an ordinary cosmic process. It was something else entirely, something that seemed to suggest intent. The most puzzling aspect was how early the glow began. Normally, comets develop visible tails or luminous activity when they approach the sun, and their icy surfaces begin to sublimate. But 3I Atlas began to emit its distinct green hue at a vast distance from the sun, far too distant for solar heat to play a significant role. This anomaly confounded experts. If sunlight wasn't responsible, what was? A handful of astronomers suggested that the glow could be caused by an internal energy source, a self-sustaining process that allowed 3I Atlas to emit light independently. This theory was radical, but it seemed to fit the data. The object wasn't merely reflecting light, it was generating it. Could it be possible that 3 Atlas possessed its own power source, perhaps as part of an advanced propulsion or energy system? Others proposed a different explanation, that the glow was the result of an exotic chemical reaction occurring on the surface of the object. Some speculated that the materials making up 3I Atlas were far more complex than any naturally occurring compound, perhaps engineered to react in specific ways under certain environmental conditions. The spectral analysis of the green light revealed unusual patterns, emission lines that didn't correspond neatly to any known element. It was as though 3I Atlas contained materials unknown to science, compounds that had never been observed within our solar system. If these substances were artificial in nature, the implications were staggering. Could 3 Atlas be an engineered object, deliberately designed to emit light under particular conditions? The rhythmic pulsing of the light added an even stranger dimension to the mystery. It wasn't constant. It came in measured bursts as though modulated. Observatories across the globe recorded consistent intervals between the pulses, and when analysts began to map the timing of the emissions, they noticed patterns, mathematical sequences too precise to be random. Was it possible that the green glow was a form of communication? If so, who, or what, was the intended recipient? Some proposed that the light might be a navigational marker, a kind of beacon meant to signal its position. Others took the theory even further, suggesting that the glow could be an active transmission directed toward Mars itself, as if 3I Atlas was sending instructions, activating something dormant on the planet's surface. As the object drew closer to Mars, the intensity of the glow increased. The light no longer seemed like a passive emission, but more like a deliberate projection, a focused beam that appeared to interact with the Martian atmosphere. Instruments detected faint disturbances in Mars' upper atmosphere that coincided with each pulse, suggesting a potential energetic exchange between the planet and the object. Some scientists speculated that the glow could be part of a process to seed or stimulate chemical changes in the Martian atmosphere, possibly an early stage of a terraforming mechanism. Others, however, warned that it could signify something far more complex, a planetary activation of some kind, a reawakening of systems left dormant for eons. The theories began to divide the scientific community. One camp insisted that the phenomenon was purely natural, as a previously unknown type of interstellar chemistry, albeit a fascinating one. The other camp, more speculative but growing louder, argued that the evidence pointed toward intelligent design. They pointed to the precision of the light pulses, The specific frequency range of the emissions and the object's precise alignment with Mars as proof that this was no accident. It was, they claimed, a deliberate act of communication, perhaps even a signal from an ancient civilization that had engineered the object long ago. If true, this would mean that 3I Atlas wasn't just a visitor to our solar system, it was part of a vast, ongoing project, one that stretched across time and space. As the world watched, the glow continued to intensify, bathing 3 Atlas in an eerie green light that could even be detected from Earth-based telescopes. The rhythmic pulses persisted, steady and precise, like the heartbeat of an artificial intelligence fulfilling a mission too vast for human comprehension. Whether it was an energy source, a communication signal, or something entirely beyond our understanding, one fact was undeniable. The green glow of 3I Atlas was not a random phenomenon. It was a message, a sign, or perhaps even a command, and it was directed at Mars. Whatever it meant, it was clear that the light held the key to understanding not only 3I Atlas itself, but the true purpose of its journey through our solar system. When the long-awaited high-resolution images of 3I Atlas finally surfaced, they left the scientific community in a state of shock and confusion. The object, which had already raised eyebrows with its unusual behaviour and inexplicable features, now appeared even more enigmatic under closer inspection. The images revealed a structure unlike anything ever documented in the history of space exploration. 3I Atlas, with its elongated, sleek form, smooth surface, and perfectly symmetrical features, bore no resemblance to any natural object we had previously encountered. The distinctive shape and the sheer precision of its design led some experts to wonder if they were looking at something entirely different from a comet, perhaps a man-made or even alien object, deliberately constructed for purposes far beyond our understanding. For decades, humanity had studied comets and asteroids, familiar with their erratic paths and irregular, often chaotic shapes. Comets are known for their jagged surfaces, covered with dust and ice, creating trails of gas and particles as they approached the sun. 3I Atlas, however, was smooth, with a surface so clean and geometrically uniform that it appeared sculpted, not formed naturally through the processes of space. The fact that this object, travelling from the depths of interstellar space, exhibited such precision suggested something beyond the random, violent birth of a comet or asteroid. Could it be the work of intelligent hands? Was 3I Atlas a probe, a tool, or even a message from an extraterrestrial civilization? As the images were scrutinized by experts, questions grew more urgent. The perfectly symmetrical, elongated shape of 3I Atlas resembled nothing in the natural world. Even the most irregular asteroids, known for their chaotic, fragmentary forms, didn't exhibit such stark geometry. Some researchers suggested that the object's symmetry pointed to intentional design, perhaps even alien engineering. The idea that 3I Atlas was crafted with purpose, rather than shaped by the forces of nature, rapidly gained traction in some circles. This view, however, wasn't without controversy. The scientific community, which had long held that interstellar objects like comets and asteroids were the products of natural cosmic processes, was now forced to reckon with the possibility that 3I Atlas was far more than just an anomaly. Could it be that what they were looking at was not a celestial visitor, but a tool, or even a vessel from a civilization far more advanced than ours? The theories began to multiply as the images continued to be analysed. Some researchers pointed to the object's unusual surface, which appeared almost flawless, devoid of the typical scars and pitting seen on natural space objects. The lack of visible impact, craters, wear or decay suggested that 3I Atlas had not travelled the vast distances of space unscathed, but that it had been maintained or engineered in a way that contradicted our understanding of how cosmic objects behave. Could this be the result of artificial design? And if so, who or what had crafted it? Others questioned whether the high-resolution images had been doctored or selectively released, fueling speculation that there was more to 3I Atlas than met the eye. Had space agencies chosen to withhold additional information? Was there a cover-up at play? And if so, why? The peculiar timing of the image's release, coming after months of silence from space agencies, only heightened the suspicion. Why had so little been shared with the public until now? Was it because the object was too bizarre to comprehend? Or was there something far more ominous at work? Something that the authorities didn't want the world to know? The unanswered questions about 3i Atlas were now matched by the silence of the very organisations that were supposed to be revealing the truth. Despite the growing theories, no definitive answers emerged. The images raised more questions than they provided solutions. Was 3i Atlas truly a comet, or was it an artificial construct? And if it was designed with purpose, who or what had sent it? These questions were compounded by the object's unusual trajectory, its chemical composition, and the strange signals it emitted. Each new discovery seemed to suggest that 3i Atlas was not just a simple celestial object, but something far more complicated and purposeful. But with so much data left unexplained, the mystery remained. The reality of 3i Atlas was beginning to take shape, but in ways that no one had expected. It was neither a straightforward comet nor a typical asteroid. It was something else entirely, something that defied the easy categories that humanity had placed all celestial objects into. And whether the world would ever know the full truth behind 3i Atlas remained an open question. In the meantime, the high-resolution images stood as a stark reminder of the mystery that this object posed, one that no amount of data, no matter how advanced, could easily unravel. With each passing day, it became more apparent that 3i Atlas was part of a much larger puzzle, one that may take humanity years, if not decades, to fully understand. But for now, the images had left the world with an undeniable truth. The cosmos was far stranger, and far more complex than anyone had ever imagined. For years, the idea of colonizing Mars has been a central theme in the conversation about humanity's future in space. Space agencies like NASA, ESA, and private enterprises such as SpaceX have spent considerable time and resources exploring the feasibility of making Mars a second home for mankind. Despite significant advances in technology, the challenges of Mars colonization are immense. The planet's thin atmosphere, extreme temperatures, and lack of liquid water on its surface have made it a formidable target for human habitation. Yet, the allure of Mars remains irresistible. With Earth's resources being stretched thin, the idea of establishing a permanent human presence on Mars offers hope for a backup plan, a way for humanity to ensure its survival if Earth becomes uninhabitable. But the arrival of 3i Atlas has introduced an unsettling new layer to this debate. Could this interstellar object be part of a much larger cosmic plan to prepare Mars for human habitation? The timing of 3i Atlas's appearance, coming at a moment when Mars colonization has become one of the most ambitious goals in space exploration, raises troubling questions. As the object approached Mars, its trajectory appeared almost too precise to be a coincidence. The alignment of 3i Atlas with Mars' orbit suggested a calculated path, one that seemed to be designed with the red planet in mind. In many ways, it was as if the object had arrived at just the right moment in Mars's history, when the planet was on the brink of being explored and potentially colonized. The question was, why now? What role does 3i Atlas play in the future of Mars? Was its arrival just an astronomical coincidence, or was it part of a much larger orchestrated plan? As scientists began to study the object more closely, they discovered that its composition and behavior seemed to suggest a connection to Mars' environment, one that hinted at a long-term mission. The chemical makeup of the gases emitted by 3i Atlas was consistent with those needed for terraforming, a process that could transform Mars into a more Earth-like environment. Could it be that this object was not just passing through, but was part of an elaborate, terraforming effort, one that would make Mars habitable for future generations? If 3i Atlas was sent to Mars with the goal of preparing it for human habitation, the object's arrival could be seen as a precursor to something much greater. The idea that 3i Atlas is playing a role in this grand plan opens up new possibilities for Mars colonization, possibilities that stretch far beyond the current capabilities of human technology. Some theorists speculate that the arrival of 3i Atlas is no accident. Given the object's precise trajectory and unusual behavior, could it be part of a cosmic initiative, an effort to prepare Mars for life, either by humans or some other intelligence? The object's smooth surface, its strange green glow, and the mysterious signals it emitted have led some to believe that 3i Atlas may not be a natural object at all, but a piece of technology designed for a specific purpose. If this is true, it suggests that the timeline of Mars colonization might be more complex than we have realized. Perhaps 3i Atlas is part of an ancient or ongoing effort to transform Mars into a more hospitable world. If the object was sent intentionally, what does that say about the broader cosmic forces at play? The idea that 3i Atlas is part of a much larger terraforming project raises unsettling questions. Could Mars have been the target of such projects for centuries, or even millennia? Could 3i Atlas be just one piece of a puzzle that has been unfolding long before humans ever set foot on the planet? If so, could this object be the key to unlocking Mars' potential for life? The possibility that 3i Atlas is playing a role in preparing Mars for human colonization raises the stakes considerably. Mars, long viewed as a barren wasteland, may not be as dead as we have been led to believe. If this object is part of a terraforming effort, it suggests that the planet could be undergoing a transformation, one that could allow it to eventually support human life. But the question remains, is 3 Atlas a harbinger of something far more ominous? If the object's purpose is indeed to prepare Mars for future human habitation, what does that say about the forces behind it? Could the object be sent by an alien intelligence, or even an ancient civilization, with an agenda that extends beyond human understanding? Is Mars being prepared for colonization by an unknown force, one that may have its own designs on the planet? The idea that 3i Atlas could be part of a broader plan raises a series of alarming possibilities. If Mars is being transformed for human habitation, who or what is controlling this transformation? And more importantly, what happens when the terraforming process is complete? In the end, 3i Atlas's arrival has changed the conversation about Mars colonization in profound ways. The idea that this interstellar object could be part of a much larger mission to prepare the planet for life is a startling revelation. It suggests that the future of Mars may be more intricate and more manipulated than we had ever imagined. Whether 3i Atlas is part of a grand design or a mere coincidence remains to be seen, but its presence on the cosmic stage has forever altered how we view Mars and the future of humanity. As the mystery of 3i Atlas unfolded, an increasingly bizarre and intriguing theory began to take hold among researchers, one that linked the object to ancient Sumerian prophecies. The Anunnaki, a race of sky gods mentioned in Sumerian texts, were said to have descended to Earth from the stars every 3,600 years. These beings, described as possessing incredible knowledge and advanced technology, were believed to have shaped the course of humanity's history, offering wisdom, power, and even genetic modifications to early civilizations. According to these ancient texts, the Anunnaki were not only gods but cosmic visitors, and their return was prophesied to happen in cycles spanning thousands of years. The fact that 3i Atlas is thought to have travelled through space for exactly 3,600 years led some theorists to make a bold connection. Could 3i Atlas be the vessel of the Anunnaki, returning to Earth as foretold in these ancient prophecies? If so, what did they want with Mars? The idea that 3i Atlas might be tied to the Anunnaki is compelling, particularly when viewed through the lens of Sumerian texts and their detailed descriptions of these beings' cosmic journey. The Sumerians believed that the Anunnaki came from a distant planet within our solar system, one that they called Nibiru, which orbited the Sun on an elongated 3,600-year cycle. The Sumerians recorded these encounters in vivid detail, speaking of the Anunnaki's arrival and departure as part of a regular cosmic rhythm. According to their myths, the Anunnaki imparted knowledge to humanity, teaching them agriculture, writing, and even the secrets of the stars. But their return was not just a symbol of wisdom, it was part of a much larger cycle, one tied to the fate of Earth and possibly other planets in the solar system. Given that 3i Atlas has taken a similar 3,600-year journey, the parallels between ancient prophecy and modern science cannot be easily dismissed. The arrival of 3i Atlas at precisely this moment in history, when Mars is being actively studied for potential human colonization, adds a chilling layer of significance to the theory. Could it be that the Anunnaki's return is not just an ancient myth, but a carefully timed event in a much larger cosmic plan? Mars, with its long history of speculation surrounding ancient civilizations and the possibility of past life, has always been a key focal point in humanity's search for meaning beyond Earth. If the Anunnaki are indeed returning, could Mars be the target of their interest, just as it was in their ancient visits? Theories about Mars' past, with its water, ancient riverbeds, and possible signs of a once thriving ecosystem, have long hinted at the possibility that the planet was once home to an advanced civilization. Could 3i Atlas be the Anunnaki's emissary, sent to initiate the next phase of Mars' transformation, perhaps to restore it to the state it was once in, or even to prepare it for something greater? The connection between 3i Atlas and the Anunnaki, while speculative, raises profound questions about the object's purpose. If 3i Atlas is indeed the vessel of these ancient sky gods, what does that mean for humanity's future? The Anunnaki, according to Sumerian texts, were not simply passive observers, but active participants in shaping the course of history. They were said to have a profound interest in Earth, imparting their knowledge and guiding human development. What then would they want with Mars? Could it be that Mars is destined to play a central role in humanity's future, perhaps even in the Anunnaki's plans for the Earth? The idea that 3i Atlas is the vehicle through which these beings might be communicating or carrying out their agenda adds a new layer of intrigue to the already complex mystery of the object. At the heart of this theory is the question of whether 3i Atlas's arrival on its precise trajectory toward Mars is purely coincidental, or if it marks the beginning of a new chapter in the Anunnaki's cosmic plan. Some theorists suggest that the object is a tool, sent to initiate the process of transforming Mars into a more hospitable environment, perhaps for future human colonization, or perhaps for the Anunnaki themselves. The possibility that 3 Atlas is more than just a comet, that it is in fact a messenger, or even a harbinger of the Anunnaki's return, raises unsettling questions about the nature of the universe and our place in it. If these beings are indeed returning, what are their intentions for Mars? Are they preparing it for humanity, or is there a far more complex agenda at play, one that humanity is not yet equipped to comprehend? In the absence of concrete evidence, the theories surrounding 3i Atlas and its connection to the Anunnaki remain speculative, but they cannot be easily dismissed. The timing of its arrival, its precise trajectory, and the eerie signals it emitted are all too coincidental to ignore. Whether 3i Atlas is the return of the Anunnaki, or merely an ancient cosmic visitor passing through, its presence in the solar system is undeniably significant. The connection between the object and the ancient Sumerian prophecies continues to captivate researchers, who are left to wonder, is this the beginning of a new era, one in which Mars and humanity become part of a much larger cosmic plan, guided by the return of these ancient beings? Or is 3i Atlas simply a strange interstellar object, passing through our solar system and leaving us with more questions than answers? Only time will tell. As 3 Atlas approaches Mars, the sense of anticipation among scientists, astronomers, and theorists alike reaches a fever pitch. For years, humanity has looked to Mars as the next great frontier for exploration and colonization. The possibility that 3i Atlas might play a crucial role in transforming the red planet into a more hospitable environment only heightens the stakes. Could this interstellar object be carrying out a terraforming mission, one designed to alter Mars' atmosphere and make it suitable for life, perhaps even for a new species of beings? As the object draws closer to its final destination, the questions multiply. What happens when 3i Atlas reaches Mars? What will the consequences be if the object is indeed capable of carrying out such an extraordinary mission? And, more troublingly, what role will Earth play in this rapidly unfolding cosmic narrative? If the payload aboard 3i Atlas is indeed designed to modify Mars' atmosphere, the implications are staggering. The gases released from the object so far suggest that it could initiate a process that begins to thicken Mars' atmosphere, potentially releasing trapped carbon dioxide and causing the planet to warm up, much like Earth's greenhouse effect. The idea of terraforming, or deliberately altering a planet's environment to make it more Earth-like, has long been the subject of science fiction. But if 3i Atlas is part of such a mission, then the boundaries of what was once considered fantasy are being pushed to their limits. The scientific community has long understood that Mars is not a hospitable world by earthly standards. But what if the arrival of this object marks the first step in a transformation that could one day support life, perhaps even human life? The thought that Mars could undergo such a profound change raises numerous concerns about the future of the planet. If 3's Atlas is indeed beginning the process of terraforming Mars, then the future of the planet will no longer simply revolve around human colonization. Mars, once considered a barren, inhospitable world, could become something far greater, perhaps a world that can sustain life in ways we have yet to fully understand. But the question becomes, if Mars is transformed, what happens to Earth? The idea that another planet in our solar system could be altered so drastically raises the prospect of a new cosmic order, one in which Earth's dominance is no longer guaranteed. Could Mars become the new home for humanity, or would Earth's role in this new order become secondary? Some theorists have suggested that the arrival of 3i Atlas could signal the beginning of a much larger plan, one that transcends human interests. Could the terraforming of Mars be part of an ancient interstellar effort to reshape planets across the cosmos? If 3i Atlas is part of such a mission, then its impact would be far-reaching, with consequences that extend beyond the scope of any one civilization. The idea that Mars could become a flourishing world once again, perhaps even with its own biosphere, adds a layer of complexity to the question of whether humanity's future is tied to the planet. If Mars becomes suitable for life, will it be for us to inhabit, or for someone, or something, else? The final approach of 3i Atlas to Mars raises the question of who, or what, is really behind this operation. Could this be the work of an advanced extraterrestrial civilization, one with the ability to manipulate planets and ecosystems on a scale beyond our comprehension? If 3i Atlas is indeed the tool of such a civilization, what is their ultimate goal? Are they trying to prepare Mars for future inhabitants? Or are they doing something far more complex? Could this interstellar object be an ancient artifact from a civilization long gone, returning to complete a mission that began eons ago? As 3 Atlas edges closer to Mars, the mystery surrounding the object becomes even more pressing. The possibility that it is carrying out a terraforming mission introduces a host of ethical, philosophical, and practical questions. If 3i Atlas is altering Mars' atmosphere, who controls the process? What happens if the transformation is not aligned with human interests? And perhaps most importantly, what does this mean for Earth's future? As Mars begins to change, will Earth remain the cradle of human civilization? Or will we be forced to shift our gaze to the red planet as it becomes something altogether new? The final approach of 3i Atlas is not just a moment of scientific discovery, it is a pivotal moment in the history of humanity. As the object nears its final destination, the future of Mars, and perhaps of Earth, will be forever altered. Whether this transformation signals the beginning of a new era of cosmic cooperation, or the start of a larger cosmic game of domination remains unclear. What is certain, however, is that the arrival of 3i Atlas marks the beginning of a new chapter in the history of the solar system, one that will shape the course of human existence in ways that are still beyond our full understanding. The final question remains, what role will we play in this unfolding cosmic drama? Only time will tell. As the evidence surrounding 3i Atlas continued to accumulate, an unsettling possibility began to take root in the scientific community. Mars might be undergoing a transformation, not through natural processes, but through something far more deliberate and engineered. The object's strange trajectory, its precise alignment with Mars, and the peculiar chemical signatures detected in its emissions all pointed toward the involvement of an intelligence far beyond what had been previously considered. These clues suggested that someone, or something, had orchestrated a plan to alter the Martian atmosphere. The notion that Mars, long thought to be a barren and inhospitable world, could be the target of a large-scale transformation led to heated debates about the nature of the processes at work. Was Mars being transformed by natural cosmic forces, or was this a carefully executed, artificial effort to reshape the planet for purposes we could not yet understand? For decades, scientists had entertained the idea of terraforming Mars, the theoretical process of making the planet habitable for humans by modifying its atmosphere, temperature, and surface conditions. But this concept had always seemed like a distant dream, something that humanity might one day attempt with advanced technology. The idea that such a transformation was already underway and that it might be the result of something beyond human capabilities was a paradigm-shifting thought. Mars's atmosphere, with its thin layers of carbon dioxide and lack of breathable air, had long been a significant barrier to human colonization. The notion that this atmosphere was being altered, potentially made thicker and more suitable for human life, suggested that the planet's future was being engineered by some external force. But the question remained, who or what was behind this transformation? The chemical composition of 3I Atlas played a critical role in this debate. The gases emanating from the object, which included carbon dioxide, water vapor, and other compounds necessary for creating a greenhouse effect, seemed to align with what would be needed to trigger the first stages of atmospheric thickening on Mars. These compounds, when introduced into the Martian atmosphere, could potentially start a chain reaction, melting the polar ice caps, releasing additional carbon dioxide, and slowly warming the planet. This kind of process, known as terraforming, had been theorized by scientists for years, but never before had it seemed so plausible. The fact that 3I Atlas, a mysterious interstellar object, could be the vehicle for such a transformation raised the possibility that someone, or something, was actively working to make Mars habitable. But if this transformation was artificial, the next logical question was, who was behind it? Was 3I Atlas simply a product of human ingenuity? Perhaps a secret project sent to Mars as part of an effort to jumpstart the process of colonization? The idea that a hidden human mission was already underway to terraform Mars would certainly explain the object's calculated trajectory and its sophisticated design. However, this theory did little to explain the bizarre signals emanating from 3I Atlas, which seemed to suggest a far more advanced intelligence at play. Some researchers speculated that the object's origins were not terrestrial at all. Could 3I Atlas be part of a long-forgotten interstellar plan, one that involved an ancient or advanced civilization capable of altering planetary atmospheres on a cosmic scale? If the object was not a human creation, it would mean that Mars's transformation had been planned by forces far beyond our current technological understanding. As the debate raged on, the implications of an artificial terraforming effort grew more profound. Mars, once thought to be a barren world, could be on the cusp of a transformation that would not only make it more habitable, but might make it suitable for a wide range of life, possibly even life that already exists on or near the planet. The idea that an external intelligence was behind the terraforming of Mars raised disturbing questions about our place in the universe. If someone had engineered Mars for habitation, what role would Earth play in this new cosmic order? Was Mars simply being prepared for future colonization, or was it part of a larger, more enigmatic plan that humanity could not yet comprehend? With the growing evidence suggesting that the transformation of Mars is not natural, but artificially directed, the conversation around its future has shifted dramatically. The idea that an external force, be it a hidden human agenda or an alien civilization, is orchestrating the terraforming of Mars opens up a host of unsettling possibilities. Could Mars become a thriving Earth-like planet? And if so, who will be the beneficiaries of this transformation? Will it be humanity or some other more advanced intelligence? The mystery surrounding 3I Atlas has added a new layer of complexity to our understanding of Mars and its potential for life. But in the end, one question remains: who or what is behind this grand cosmic plan, and why is Mars, a seemingly lifeless world, at the centre of it all? The silence surrounding 3I Atlas has fueled suspicions and raised more questions than answers. For months, space agencies like NASA and the European Space Agency, ESA, remained frustratingly tight-lipped about the object, offering only vague statements and withholding much of the critical data. To the general public, this silence seemed out of character. Space agencies, which have long been champions of scientific discovery and transparency, had always shared key information about celestial events, particularly when those events involved objects from beyond our solar system. So why then was 3 Atlas treated so differently? What were they hiding? And more unsettlingly, what did they know that the public didn't? The object's strange characteristics, its unusual trajectory, its chemical composition, and the bizarre signals it emitted have all pointed to the possibility that 3 Atlas is far more than just an interstellar comet passing through the solar system. The object's smooth geometric shape, its calculated course toward Mars, and the green glow it began emitting well before reaching the Sun have led some to suggest that 3 Atlas could be part of something much larger, something orchestrated by an intelligence far beyond human capabilities. As the evidence began to mount, it became impossible to ignore the possibility that 3 Atlas was not a random visitor, but rather part of a grander plan. A plan that could involve the transformation of Mars, the terraforming of the planet, or even humanity's role in this cosmic drama. Given the mounting evidence and the extraordinary nature of 3I Atlas, one would expect space agencies like NASA and ESA to be more forthcoming with information. However, they have remained eerily quiet. This silence only served to fuel speculation. Could the object be part of a larger agenda, one that involves the future of Mars and humanity's place within it? If 3I Atlas is indeed linked to the transformation of Mars, and potentially to an ancient plan or extraterrestrial involvement, why would space agencies be so hesitant to acknowledge it? Could there be something more at play? Something that the public is not ready to know, or something that might be too dangerous for the world to understand? The growing conspiracy theories surrounding 3I Atlas have ranged from the plausible to the outlandish, but one thing is certain: the lack of transparency from space agencies only adds fuel to the fire. If 3I Atlas is part of a larger plan to terraform Mars, or if it is a piece of ancient technology designed to alter the planet, why would NASA and ESA choose to remain silent? Some theorists suggest that the object is part of a covert operation, perhaps initiated by world governments or a secret organization, aimed at preparing Mars for future human colonization, or even for the return of extraterrestrial beings. Could 3 Atlas be part of a larger agenda that involves not only Mars, but the future of humanity itself? As more evidence surfaces, the complexities surrounding 3I Atlas only deepen. Scientists and independent researchers are increasingly pointing to the object's unusual chemical signatures and the bizarre green glow as evidence of something far beyond the capabilities of natural cosmic phenomena. The fact that the object's trajectory seems too precise to be a coincidence, combined with its bizarre behavior and emissions, has led many to conclude that 3I Atlas was sent with a purpose. But what that purpose is, and who or what sent it, remains the central mystery. With each new discovery, the silence from space agencies only grows more conspicuous. If 3I Atlas is indeed part of an ongoing mission, one that involves transforming Mars, preparing it for future inhabitants, or even reactivating a dormant Martian ecosystem, why are NASA and ESA withholding critical information? The possibility that this object is part of an interstellar plan, orchestrated by an unknown civilization or force, raises questions about the true nature of the mission and the role Earth and humanity will play in it. The lack of transparency from space agencies also leads to the unsettling idea that there is more to the story than we are being told. Are we being kept in the dark about the true nature of 3I Atlas because the full truth is too complicated, too dangerous, or too unsettling for the public to handle? Could it be that the transformation of Mars, or even humanity's eventual role in this transformation, is being carefully controlled? The secrecy surrounding 3I Atlas only deepens the mystery, and the growing chorus of voices questioning the official narrative suggests that we may be on the brink of uncovering a truth far more profound, and perhaps far more unsettling, than anyone could have anticipated. In the end, the silence from NASA, ESA, and other space agencies raises more questions than it answers. As the world waits for more information, one thing is clear. There is something far more complex at play here. Whether it is a covert mission to terraform Mars, a long-forgotten plan of ancient origin, or an extraterrestrial intervention, the implications of 3I Atlas's arrival are too significant to ignore. The real story behind this mysterious object is still waiting to be uncovered, and as more evidence surfaces, it seems increasingly clear that the full truth is far from what we've been told. As 3 Atlas moves ever closer to Mars, the debate over the planet's future has reached a fevered intensity. What began as a scientific curiosity has become an existential question for humanity. Is this object a harbinger of renewal or destruction? If its mission truly is to terraform Mars, then the implications stretch far beyond science. They touch on philosophy, destiny, and survival itself. The red planet, once thought to be a barren desert of rust and silence, may be standing on the brink of transformation. But whether that transformation brings life or annihilation remains a question no one can answer with certainty. Mars now teeters between two futures, one of rebirth, the other of irreversible ruin. For decades, the dream of transforming Mars into a livable world has captured humanity's imagination. Scientists, engineers, and visionaries have spoken of warming the atmosphere, melting the polar caps, and releasing trapped gases to create a climate capable of sustaining human life. This dream, while ambitious, has always been theoretical, an idea resting at the edge of possibility. But the arrival of 3I Atlas has shifted that conversation from speculation to reality. If the object's emissions truly contain the ingredients necessary for atmospheric thickening, and if its trajectory is part of a deliberate plan, then Mars could be on the verge of a transformation beyond anything humankind could have achieved alone. For some, this is the ultimate sign of hope, proof that the cosmos itself, or perhaps some intelligence within it, is preparing the way for humanity's next chapter. Yet others see it differently. The fear is that this so-called terraforming mission might not be an act of creation at all, but one of destruction. Mars, in its current state, is a pristine record of the solar system's ancient history, a museum frozen in time. Every dust storm, crater, and frozen riverbed tells a story billions of years old. To alter that landscape, to impose an artificial process upon it, might be to erase a natural legacy that has endured since the dawn of planetary formation. Moreover, if the forces behind 3I Atlas are not human, the question arises, how can we know their intentions? Terraforming, after all, presupposes a goal, to make a world habitable for a specific form of life. But what if that life is not human? What if Mars is being prepared for something, or someone, else entirely? The idea that 3I Atlas might be a tool of transformation designed for purposes beyond human understanding has divided the scientific community. Some argue that its emissions and movements fit the theoretical models of a terraforming mechanism, while others insist the evidence could point to a completely different outcome. A growing concern among planetary scientists is that the introduction of alien compounds into Mars' atmosphere could destabilize its delicate balance, leading to catastrophic changes instead of gradual ones. If 3I Atlas releases too much carbon dioxide, for example, it could trigger violent storms, altering the planet's magnetic and atmospheric properties in unpredictable ways. Rather than fostering life, such a process could render Mars even more hostile, eroding its fragile surface and obliterating any chance of future habitability. What appears to be an act of creation could, in the end, be an act of unintentional or deliberate obliteration. The geopolitical implications are equally daunting. If 3I Atlas is part of a larger plan, whether extraterrestrial or covertly human, it raises questions about control. Who decides what becomes of Mars? Should humanity intervene to stop the process, or would doing so risk defying a force far greater than ourselves? Governments and research agencies around the world are reportedly divided on how to proceed. Some advocate for immediate study and potential interception, while others argue that the process should be allowed to continue, believing it to be part of an inevitable cosmic progression, one that humanity must simply adapt to. Whatever the truth may be, the silence from official sources like NASA and ESA only amplifies the unease. It feels as though something monumental is unfolding, yet the world has been left in the dark. If 3I Atlas succeeds in altering Mars' atmosphere, humanity may face a choice unlike any in its history. The red planet could become a second home, a sanctuary for future generations, or a monument to forces that exceed our comprehension. It could herald a new dawn of exploration and colonization, or it could mark the beginning of a chain reaction that rewrites the solar system itself. The truth is that no one can yet predict the outcome. What is certain, however, is that Mars will never be the same. The arrival of 3I Atlas has changed everything, forcing us to confront the profound question at the heart of our cosmic story. When we reach for the stars, do we create new worlds, or do we destroy them? As 3C Atlas nears the completion of its enigmatic mission on Mars, the question of what will happen next looms large. Will the object continue its journey through the cosmos, disappearing as suddenly as it arrived, or will it remain in our solar system, forever changed by its interaction with the red planet? The mystery surrounding the future of 3I Atlas is a profound one, filled with uncertainty and intrigue. For many, the arrival of 3I Atlas marked the beginning of something monumental, a new chapter in the story of space exploration. Yet, as the object's mission on Mars nears its end, it's clear that the true impact of its presence extends far beyond the red planet itself. If 3I Atlas completes its task of altering Mars' atmosphere, the question becomes, what will it do next? Will it continue its journey through the vast emptiness of interstellar space, leaving behind a transformed Mars and a trail of unanswered questions? Or will it remain, possibly in orbit around Mars or even in the asteroid belt, where it could continue to play a role in shaping the future of the solar system? Some scientists speculate that the object's journey may be far from over, that 3I Atlas could be part of an ongoing cosmic mission, one that could involve not just Mars, but other planets or celestial bodies. The idea that this object, seemingly designed for a specific purpose, could be part of a larger interstellar exploration plan raises tantalizing possibilities. Could 3 Atlas be the vanguard of a new era of cosmic exploration, paving the way for other objects to follow in its wake, each playing a part in a grander, more intricate scheme? At the same time, the possibility remains that 3 Atlas will disappear as quickly as it came, its mission completed, and its journey through the solar system just a fleeting moment in the grand timeline of the universe. If the object is truly a one-time visitor, the consequences of its visit could be far-reaching, but its presence in our solar system would be brief. It would be remembered as a strange anomaly, an object that appeared from the depths of interstellar space, performed an unknown task on Mars, and then vanished without a trace, leaving behind only the transformation of a planet and a lingering sense of mystery. If 3 Atlas disappears from our view, the questions about its origins, its purpose, and its impact on Mars would remain unanswered, leaving humanity to speculate about the nature of the object and its role in the cosmos for generations to come. However, the real question remains, what impact will the transformation of Mars have on Earth? If 3I Atlas successfully alters Mars' atmosphere, and begins the long process of making the planet more habitable, the ripple effects could be profound. Mars, once viewed as an uninhabitable wasteland, could become a new frontier for human exploration, offering opportunities for colonization and resource extraction that we can only begin to imagine. But what if the changes to Mars are not just about terraforming, but about altering the balance of the solar system itself? Could the transformation of one planet set off a chain reaction, shifting the dynamics between Earth and its neighbour in unexpected ways? As Mars becomes more Earth-like, will humanity's place in the solar system be redefined, and will our relationship with Mars become more intertwined with our survival on Earth? These questions remain unanswered as 3 Atlas continues its approach to Mars's surface. The object's impact on the planet is still unfolding, and the consequences of its actions may not be fully realized until much later. What is clear, however, is that the presence of 3 Atlas marks a pivotal moment in the history of space exploration. The object has already challenged everything we thought we knew about interstellar objects, celestial mechanics, and the possibility of extraterrestrial influence. And as 3 Atlas completes its mission, whether it leaves or stays, Its legacy will forever alter the way we think about the cosmos and our place within it. In the end, 3i Atlas's final departure, whether it vanishes back into the depths of space or remains in our solar system, will not be the end of the story. Its presence has ignited a new chapter in humanity's journey into the unknown, one that will shape our future for years to come. As we continue to study the object and the transformation it has set in motion on Mars, we are left to wonder, what comes next? Will 3i Atlas be the first of many interstellar visitors, each carrying out a cosmic mission of its own? Or will it remain a singular anomaly, a mysterious object that appeared from the void, altered a planet and then disappeared, leaving humanity to ponder its true purpose forever? The answers remain elusive, but one thing is certain. The arrival of 3i Atlas has changed everything we know about space and the future of our planet. The arrival of 3i Atlas has forced humanity to confront uncomfortable truths about our place in the universe. What began as a scientific curiosity, a fleeting interstellar object making its way through the solar system, has turned into something far more profound. With each passing day, as the object moved closer to Mars, it has revealed more about not only the red planet but also about the universe itself and our place within it. The evidence that has surfaced so far has forced us to question everything we thought we knew about Mars, space, and perhaps even the very nature of a life beyond Earth. As we stand at the precipice of what 3i Atlas may eventually reveal, we must ask, what have we truly learned from its arrival? The first and most obvious revelation is that Mars is far from the lifeless, barren planet that we once believed it to be. For centuries, scientists have speculated about the planet's potential to support life. Its dry riverbeds, ancient polar ice caps, and evidence of past volcanic activity have always hinted at a more dynamic history than the one we'd come to accept. The possibility that Mars once harboured life, or could support life again, has always loomed large in the scientific community, but it was 3i Atlas that provided a catalyst for further investigation. Whether by chance or design, the object's arrival has sparked a renewed interest in the potential for Mars to be transformed, not just as a human colony, but as a planet that may still harbour secrets from its distant past. Could 3i Atlas hold the key to unlocking Mars's hidden history? Some researchers have suggested that the object's mission might not just be to terraform the planet, but to reveal the truth about Mars' ancient civilization, if such a civilization ever existed. The chemical compositions of 3i Atlas, the strange emissions, and the object's calculated path suggest that there may be much more going on beneath the surface of Mars than we have yet to discover. Are we on the cusp of uncovering a lost history of Mars, one that was erased long ago but preserved in the planet's forgotten corners? If 3i Atlas is not just a comet but an artificial object, part of a larger plan to reawaken Mars, then the implications are far-reaching. It suggests that the planet could have been more than just a barren world. It may have once been home to an advanced civilization, or at the very least it may have been part of a cosmic project far beyond anything humanity can yet comprehend. But as we grapple with these possibilities, we must also acknowledge that we have only scratched the surface. For all that we have learned, there is still so much we do not know about 3i Atlas and its true mission. Why has it come to Mars now, and who or what sent it? Is it truly part of a grand interstellar effort to alter the planet, or is it simply a random anomaly that has captured our imaginations? And what happens after it completes its mission? Will it continue its journey through the cosmos, or will it remain in the solar system, perhaps even influencing Mars for years to come? These questions remain unanswered, and the silence surrounding them only deepens the mystery. As we look to the future, one thing is clear. 3i Atlas has forever altered our understanding of the cosmos. It has shown us that the universe is far more complex, far more mysterious than we ever imagined. The very notion that an interstellar object could play a role in the transformation of a planet challenges everything we thought we knew about space, time, and the forces that govern them. It forces us to reconsider our place in the grand scheme of the universe. For too long, humanity has viewed itself as the pinnacle of intelligence in a vast empty cosmos. But 3i Atlas has suggested that we may not be as alone as we once believed. The cosmos may be teeming with life, with forces at work that we are only just beginning to understand. The question now is, what comes next? The mysteries surrounding 3i Atlas are far from resolved, but one thing is certain, our understanding of space has been forever changed. Will we continue to explore the mysteries of Mars, using the clues left behind by 3i Atlas to guide us? Or will we look outward, toward the stars, as we begin to question what else might be out there, waiting to be discovered? The arrival of 3i Atlas has set in motion a new era of exploration, one that promises to challenge our assumptions and open new doors to the unknown. The future of space exploration is no longer defined solely by human ambition and technology. It is now shaped by the mysteries that 3i Atlas has revealed and the cosmic truths we have yet to uncover. Thanks for watching. If you find this fascinating, hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated.